Hey everyone. You know how we're all kind of freaking out about AI bias these days?
Yeah.
Well, it turns out that Microsoft might just have a solution.
Hmm.
So today we are diving deep into their brand new Responsible AI Dashboard V2.0.
Okay.
And we are getting all of our insights from the daily AI ToolBox folks.
Yeah. This is it's really timely
Hmm.
given all the scrutiny that AI is under right now
Yeah.
in terms of its fairness,
Yeah.
particularly in things like healthcare and hiring and finance, like
Right.
you name it.
Yeah.
This tool could really be a game changer.
Okay, so what is this dashboard thing exactly?
Well, think of it kind of like a toolkit for AI developers.
Okay.
It's designed to help them to spot and fix any issues that they might have in their AI models.
Hmm.
Things like bias and errors, inaccuracies,
Yeah.
all the stuff that keeps ethicists up at night.
Gotcha. Okay, so that makes sense. But why is this dashboard such a big deal?
Right,
I mean, there are other AI tools out there, right?
right.
What makes this one so special?
Well, the thing that is so unique about this particular dashboard is that it's the first one
Okay.
that combines error analysis with fairness metrics with something called causal inference.
Okay.
So what that means is that it can not only tell you that your AI is biased,
Hmm.
but it can actually go a step further and tell you why.
Whoa. Okay. That's huge because understanding the why behind AI
Yeah.
decisions, I feel like that's what everybody's been
Absolutely.
fiddling with. You know?
It is, and it's really all about transparency and accountability and really building trust in
Hmm.
these AI systems. And speaking of trust, the team that is behind this dashboard is
Grew a lot.
incredibly impressive. We've got former DeepMind researchers,
Wow.
policy advisors. These are the heavy hitters in the
Wow.
AI ethics world.
Okay. Yeah. Could color me impressed.
Yeah.
But how does it actually work?
Okay.
Like, walk me through it.
All right.
Like, I'm 5.
Okay.
But you know, maybe a little smarter than that.
All right, so one of the coolest features, I think, is the ability to run these what-if scenarios.
Okay.
So for example, let's say that you are a bank
Okay.
and you're using AI to assess loan applications.
Hmm.
So with this dashboard, what you can do is you can tweak certain things,
Okay.
like maybe income thresholds,
Okay.
and then you can see how those tweaks would impact loan approval rates across different demographics.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
you can basically test for potential bias before the AI is unleashed upon the world and accidentally redlines an entire neighborhood.
Exactly, you got it.
Gotcha.
It's like a safety net
Yeah.
to make sure that your AI is playing fair.
Yeah.
And to make things even better, it's designed for real-time collaboration.
Oh, cool.
So you can have teams of people working on it together. They can track changes. They can share reports,
Wow.
which makes things like compliance and auditing so much easier.
Yeah. And a dream for my sanity trying to keep up with all this ethical AI stuff that's flying around.
Right.
Speaking of which, hashtag ethical AI is trending like crazy.
It is.
Have you seen any of the tweets?
Oh, yeah, I've seen a ton of them. Gary Marcus, the AI expert, had a
Yeah.
really good one. He said something like, finally, a tool that forces developers to confront the why behind AI decisions.
Ooh.
It seems to be hitting a nerve.
Yeah. And probably saving some companies from some major PR nightmares down the road.
Yeah.
But let's be real, it can't all be sunshine and roses.
Mhm.
What are the downsides?
Well, yeah, there are a few.
Okay.
I think one of the main ones is the learning curve.
Okay.
You need to know a little bit of Python
Ooh.
to get the most out of it.
Okay.
So it's not exactly plug and play for
Yeah.
everybody just yet.
So not for your average grandma who just learned to code HTML.
No, probably not.
Bummer.
And also, right now, it only works with Python-based models.
Okay.
So if you're an R user or a Julia user, you're kind of out of luck for now.
Oh.
But they say that support for other languages is coming soon.
Okay, that's a relief. But let's get practical here. How could this tool actually be used in different industries?
Well, the possibilities really are huge.
Yeah.
One thing I think about is hospitals.
Okay.
Hospitals could use this to make sure that their diagnostic AI isn't racially biased,
Right.
which could lead to, misdiagnoses or unequal treatment.
Yeah. That's scary, but a really important thing to think about.
Absolutely.
So this could really prevent that.
Yes, it really could.
Wow. Okay. I'm seeing the potential here.
Yeah, and then another example, think about finance.
Okay.
Banks could use it to simulate loan approvals across different demographics and just make sure that they're lending fairly.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, this could literally change the game
It
in
could.
so many different fields.
Yeah.
What about the other tech giants?
Yeah.
What are they doing in this space? I know IBM is doing some ethical AI stuff too, right?
Yeah, they are with their Watson OpenScale.
Mm.
And of course, Google has its What If tool. But from what I've seen,
Yeah.
Microsoft seems to be kind of leading the pack in terms of the transparency and their comprehensive approach with this.
So could this be the key to preventing, future AI scandals?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it's a powerful tool.
Oh, but there's always a but. I guess we're going to have to unpack that in part 2.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Microsoft's Responsible AI Dashboard V2.0.
Yeah, I'm still like buzzing about these what if scenarios
Right.
and like how this thing could help prevent like major AI bias disasters.
Right.
But you were about to drop a but before the break.
Yeah.
Spill the tea. What's the catch?
Okay, well, look, it's not a magic bullet. It's a really powerful tool.
Uh-huh.
But it's still just a tool.
Yeah.
It's not going to single-handedly solve all of AI's ethical problems.
Right.
We need to be realistic about that.
Okay, fair enough. But it's got to be a step in the right direction, at least, right?
Absolutely. It is a huge step forward
Okay.
in terms of transparency and accountability.
Yeah.
And that fact that it combines error analysis and fairness metrics and causal inference, I think, is a real game changer.
Right. You mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I'm still a little fuzzy on that whole causal inference thing.
Okay.
Could you break that down for me a little bit more?
Yeah, so imagine you're training an AI to predict whether someone is likely to default on a loan.
Okay. Sounds like a risky business.
It is, and let's say your AI starts flagging people who live in certain zip codes as high risk.
Sounds familiar.
Right. So a traditional AI might just see that correlation,
Yeah.
okay, people in these zip codes tend to default more often,
Yeah.
and they would just stop there.
Yeah.
But causal inference digs a little bit deeper.
Okay.
It asks why.
Okay. So it's like playing detective with your AI.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
It helps you to figure out, are these zip codes just a proxy for something else? Like maybe some kind of systemic economic disadvantage? Yeah. That's actually the real driver of these default rates.
Right.
So this way you can actually address that root cause of the problem
Yeah.
instead of perpetuating that bias.
Wow. That's powerful.
Yeah.
So how does the dashboard actually help developers to do that?
Right.
Like to figure out the why?
Well, one way is through visualizations.
Okay.
So it can create all these graphs and charts that show the relationships between all the different variables in your data
Okay.
and how those variables are influencing the AI's decision.
So like giving you like X-ray vision into your AI's brain.
Exactly. You got it.
Wow.
It shows you how it's thinking.
Okay.
And then once you understand the why,
Yeah.
you can actually start making adjustments.
Okay.
So maybe you need to tweak your algorithm a little bit. Maybe you need to collect more diverse data.
Right.
Maybe you need to even rethink your whole approach.
Yeah.
But the point is the dashboard empowers you to make those decisions in a much more informed and ethical way.
Okay. I'm starting to get the picture here, but all this talk about algorithms and data makes this sound super technical. Is this dashboard only for hardcore AI engineers?
Yeah.
What about the rest of us mere mortals?
Right. Well, it does require some technical know-how.
Okay.
Especially with Python being the main language that works with it right now.
Right.
But they have tried to make it as user-friendly as possible.
What?
There's drag-and-drop interfaces for some of the features. They offer a lot of tutorials and support.
So I wouldn't need a PhD in computer science to tinker around with it.
Probably not a PhD, but some coding experience would definitely be helpful.
Yeah.
But I think the bigger point here is that this isn't just a tool for developers.
Okay.
It's for everyone who is involved in building and deploying these AI systems. So, product managers, designers, ethicists, even policymakers.
Interesting. So a common language that everyone can use to talk about and address this issue.
Exactly.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
But let's get back to the practical side of things.
Okay.
We've talked about healthcare. We've talked about finance. What are some other real-world examples of how this dashboard is being used?
Well, one area that's generating a lot of buzz is content moderation.
Okay.
So think about platforms like TikTok or Facebook
Yeah.
that are trying to filter out all this harmful content like hate speech and misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
So the Responsible AI Dashboard can help these companies to identify any potential biases in their algorithms
Right.
that might be unfairly silencing certain voices
Huh?
or amplifying others.
Yeah, that's a crucial one in today's world.
It is.
So it's not just about preventing AI from discriminating against individuals.
Right.
It's also about making sure that it's not contributing to like broader societal problems.
Exactly. And that's why this whole movement towards responsible AI is so important.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing this immense power that this technology has and using it in a way that benefits everyone.
Okay, preach. I'm totally on board with that.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, are companies really prioritizing ethical AI?
Right.
Or is this just like lip service?
Yeah. I think there is a genuine shift that's happening.
Okay.
You know, with all the recent AI scandals and the growing public concern. I think companies are realizing that they can't afford to ignore this issue anymore.
Yeah, plus those fines for ethical violations can be pretty hefty.
That's true. There is that too.
Yeah.
But I also think there's a growing awareness that responsible AI is not just about avoiding bad press.
Okay.
It's actually good for business.
Right. Yeah. Makes sense.
You know, building trust with your users, attracting top talent, creating products that are fair and inclusive.
Right.
These are all competitive advantages.
So it's like a win-win situation.
Yeah.
Ethical AI
Yeah.
and a healthier bottom line.
You could say that, and that's why I'm actually really optimistic about the future.
Okay.
I think that tools like the Responsible AI Dashboard are giving us the power to build a better AI.
Okay.
One that's aligned with our values.
Okay, now I'm feeling inspired.
Good.
But what about the people who are creating these tools?
Right.
Are they thinking ethically?
Yeah.
Like, could the dashboard itself be biased in some way?
That's a great question, and it's definitely something we need to be mindful of.
Okay.
You know, any tool, no matter how well-intentioned, can reflect the biases of its creators.
Oh, mind blown.
Yeah.
So we're trying to solve bias with a tool that itself could be biased.
It is.
That's kind of a paradox.
It is a bit of a paradox, and that's why I think critical thinking and this kind of ongoing scrutiny are so important.
Right.
You know, we can't just blindly trust any tool or technology.
Yeah.
We need to constantly question, evaluate, improve.
Okay, that's a lot to chew on.
It is.
I think we need a break to let it all sink in. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the final part of our deep dive. Okay, we are back for the final part of our deep dive on Microsoft's Responsible AI Dashboard V2.0. My brain is like officially buzzing with all this talk about causal inference and ethical AI.
Yeah. It is a lot to process, but that's what makes this topic so fascinating. And in this final part, what we're going to do is we're going to actually look at how these ideas are playing out in the real world.
Yes, give me those concrete examples. I want to see, like, how is this dashboard making a difference?
Okay, so picture this. You have a major hospital, and they're using AI to help diagnose patients with heart disease.
Okay, seems like a great use case.
Right, totally cutting edge.
AI speeding up diagnoses, saving lives.
Exactly.
What's not to love?
Right, but here's the catch. They start noticing that the AI is consistently flagging patients from certain zip codes as higher risk, even when their individual health data doesn't necessarily warrant it.
Yeah. Sounds like some unintentional bias creeping in there.
Exactly. And luckily, they were using the Responsible AI Dashboard. So when they ran their model through it, the dashboard was able to pinpoint the problem.
Okay.
The AI was placing too much weight on zip code data,
Yeah.
which, as we know, can be a proxy for things like socioeconomic factors and even race.
Right. So even though the AI wasn't like explicitly programmed to be racist, it was still perpetuating these existing inequalities.
Exactly. That's the scary thing about bias. It can hide in plain sight.
Yeah.
But the dashboard acted like an X-ray, revealing those hidden patterns.
Gotcha.
So the hospital was then able to adjust their model, retrain it with a more balanced data set.
Okay.
And ultimately, they ended up with a much fairer and more accurate diagnostic tool.
Wow. That is a powerful example of how this dashboard can literally be used to save lives.
Yeah.
And it really highlights why understanding the why behind those AI decisions is so crucial.
Absolutely. It's not enough to just know that your AI is biased. You need to understand the root causes in order to actually fix it.
Okay, all right, so healthcare is clearly a big one. What about other industries? We talked about finance earlier. Are banks actually using this dashboard to make their lending practices more equitable?
Yeah, they are. So there was one bank we know of that was using AI to assess loan applications. But They wanted to be extra sure that their system wasn't unfairly discriminating against certain groups.
Good for them.
Right. So they used the what if scenario feature to run all these simulations.
Okay.
So, for example, what if they lowered the minimum credit score requirement?
Yep.
So the dashboard allowed them to see how that change would affect loan approvals across different demographics.
Okay.
And that helped them to reveal any potential biases that might be baked into their algorithm.
So they were able to proactively tweak their lending criteria
Exactly.
to make sure that everyone had a fair shot regardless of their background?
Exactly.
That's pretty impressive.
It is, and it shows that, this technology isn't just about playing defense. It's also about, opening up new opportunities and creating a more inclusive financial system.
Okay, I'm seeing the bigger picture now.
Yeah.
This dashboard, it's not just like a technical tool.
Right.
It's really a way to align AI with our values and build a more equitable world.
You got it. But, like we discussed earlier, it's not a magic solution.
Right.
It's an ongoing process.
Yeah.
And it requires constant vigilance and critical thinking.
Right. Even the dashboard itself could potentially reflect the biases of its creators.
Exactly.
It's a paradox, but it's a conversation I think we need to keep having.
Absolutely. And as AI becomes more pervasive in our lives, these discussions are only going to become more important.
Yeah.
I think we all have a responsibility to really engage with this technology in a thoughtful and ethical way.
Well said. This has been like an incredibly eye-opening deep dive.
Yeah.
I feel like I've learned so much about the potential and the pitfalls of AI. But where do we go from here?
Right.
What can our listeners do to kind of stay informed and get involved in this movement towards responsible AI?
That's a great question. I think the first step is awareness. Stay informed about the latest developments in AI ethics.
Yeah.
Follow organizations like AI for the people who are advocating for responsible AI development. And don't be afraid to ask tough questions.
Yes. Challenge assumptions, demand transparency, and hold these companies accountable for building AI that benefits everyone.
Exactly. And for those of you listening who are developers or who work in tech, consider incorporating tools like the Responsible AI Dashboard into your workflow.
Yeah. It's not just about building cool tech anymore. It's about building tech that is fair and just and aligned with our values.
And that's a future worth fighting for.
Couldn't agree more. Well, folks, that wraps up our deep dive into the Responsible AI Dashboard V2.0. We hope this episode has sparked some important conversations and inspired you to join this movement towards a more ethical AI. And don't forget to follow @AI for the People to stay in the loop. Until next time, keep those brains buzzing.